So we all agree with the fact that Avatar changed the game for movies, especially sci-fi ones, as we know them, right? The movie's iconic, and it's got the cult following to prove it. But while it acts as the best example ever for novice directors, there are some lessons that basically went over Hollywood's head. And in this video, we're going to talk about how they messed up all the standards that Avatar created. First of all, at number 7, going over budget. It's a well-known fact that the director of Avatar, James Cameron, has a habit of going over budget, and news of his combative nature on the set's a pretty popular tabloid report. But the man's got a vision, one that directors of his time most certainly didn't have. He directed the Titanic, for crying out loud, so we think he's allowed to go a bit over budget, because he actually delivers on all his promises. Plus, the director's also very serious about his stance. It turns out that when producers started complaining about Titanic becoming too pricey, Cameron said, "If you want to cut my film, you'll have to fire me, and to fire me, you'll have to kill me." Yikes. Overdramatic much? Actually, if the results can create blockbusters like Titanic and Avatar, then not really. Unlike James Cameron's visionary movies that pushed the future of visual effects into a new scope entirely, the directors of today aren't at all good at keeping their promises or delivering any of their visions into a comprehensive, enjoyable piece. Nope, they're just throwing money down the drain, and the movie doesn't even look good. Up next, at number 6, 3D movies become a monetizing factor. One of the main reasons Avatar was such a game changer in the world of cinema was because of its use of 3D technology, which some critics think Cameron was completely transformed. But see, James Cameron incorporated 3D into his movie for the visual appeal that it offered. Whereas nowadays, 3D movies are being pumped out every second because guess what? The ticket for a 3D movie is more expensive. So 3D movies galore. Every movie's a 3D movie, because that's how theaters combat sales. Just like the first 2 projects, all 3 upcoming sequels will be filmed with 3D cameras using the same tech to enhance the otherworldliness of their setting. The alien moon Pandora, populated by the Na'vi, and many fantastical animals. You can't get the same feel without 3D and special effects. But then again, this is only in terms of the Avatar franchise. All other directors, please, we beg you, don't release a 3D version of your work in progress film. Our eyes can't handle the strain. And for those burdened with glasses, 3D isn't exactly everyone's cup of tea. Stick to the classics. Moving on, number 5, adding unnecessary amounts of CGI. Okay, so if we're to do a side-by-side comparison of the CGI used in the Avatar movie and how it's used today, you'd think Avatar is a recent movie, not released in 2009. And yes, this shade is toward the current line of MCU and DCEU movies. Just because you can use CGI doesn't mean that you have to add it to every scene. And in this case, we're not talking small sprinkles of CGI. It's just bucket loads of it. And the hard efforts of the visual artists who've been overworked and burned out for, well, ever since these franchises created an intense schedule of movie releases per year. So, in the last couple of years, most Marvel and DC movies have flat, lifeless action sequences set in parking lots. Where's the wonder, the magic? We don't want to see men in tights fighting in parking lots. We want to be transported to new worlds and dive into underwater depths, something that the Avatar movie was able to do perfectly. Like, just look at Pandora. Plus, all of the Hollywood movies produced by post-Avatar were post-converted pictures, meaning they weren't actually filmed with 3D cameras. Say what? There's no real purpose for converting these movies, that have got some potential for greatness by the way, to be reduced to sad 3D conversions. We guess more 3D movies equals more money, because this is not a demand made by the fans. Coming up next, at number 4, jam-packed movie releases. Remember how we said that movies are being released non-stop and the visual artists have worked to the bone? We're not going to lie. We were a little surprised to hear that a sequel to Avatar was in the works, mainly because the original movie was released in 2009. That was 13 years ago. Can you imagine how many movies must have been made in that gap? Well, no need to imagine. Here's an outline. All but 2 of the 30 Marvel movies have come out by then. The entire Despicable Me franchise, including including Minions spin-off, fits within that time frame, and so does the DC Extended Universe. We're speechless. We've said it before, we've said it once, we've said it twice, and we'll repeat it as many times as necessary. Releasing mediocre movies every 3 weeks isn't going to change the course of modern cinema as we know it. It's just going to make the audience watching pissed off. Now, at number 3, constant sequels. Let's be real for a second. No one asked for all these sequels. In fact, sequels weren't even that common before Avatar came out. But ever since 2009, they've become a literal pillar of the American film industry and the only way for cinema and movie theaters to combat the rising amount of at-home streaming. In fact, Disney Plus is taking all your customers, and we know how frustrating that must be. But what about creating non-stop sequels for movies that really don't need them? That's not exactly an effective solution, you know? Granted, Avatar also has sequels in the making. In fact, there are 3 movies that'll follow after Avatar: The Way of Water, so it's not like the franchise is safe from criticism. But we're hoping that the sequels will be substantial enough. Like always, we've got our fingers crossed. Up next, at number 2, no cultural impact. Here's the hard truth. According to critics and some pragmatic fans, Avatar had no cultural impact, mainly because nobody can name its main character. Well, that and the plot's just too predictable. Simply put, it's not a special movie. The movie's strongest quality is the digital animation and visual effects, but otherwise, it's considered weak storytelling. In fact, Jake, as himself or even as Na'vi, is thought of as a generic character. Some critics argued that none of the characters has any distinctive qualities whatsoever. There's nothing of the movie that's worth remembering. You'll remember Rose's necklace, or Jack clinging onto the door from Titanic, but it seems that Avatar didn't have any emotional nuggets to hang on to. And sadly, that's the route all recent movies are taking. They create a generic plot with one-dimensional characters and a poorly constructed romance, which, mind you, sometimes has no actual use to the plot. And after creating an alien or end-of-world apocalypse, they slap on the 3D effects and call it a day. Would you believe these movies become box office hits? Though sometimes, the lack of cultural impact can be thanks to poor execution or a disconnect between the movie's tone and the actual genre it falls in. Like M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar, The Last Airbender, for example, was poorly executed and way different from the source material. Honestly, Hollywood either learns the lesson with one ear open or doesn't bother learning it at all, it seems. Finally, at number 1, the white savior trope is added to every movie. Some critics argued that Avatar used the white savior trope and indirectly caused a domino effect. And now, every other film's got a white savior protecting the lesser folks from evil, whatever it takes. Pharmaceutical, corporate, institutional. Here's a quick recap of the movie to help connect the dots. It follows the story of Jake Sully, a former Marine who's selected by the Resource Development Administration. We'll get to that in a sec. To convince the indigenous Na'vi of Pandora to leave their home. Jumping back to the Resource Development Administration, aka the RDA now. His role in the RDA is to mine a precious mineral in the soil below Na'vi's dwelling. Naturally, Jake rebels against the RDA. What a shocker. Didn't see that one coming from miles away? Anyway, he joins the Na'vi, proves himself the best among them, and basically saves the day in the process. The main bone that critics have to pick with the movie is that it creates a perception of false white messiahs like Jake Sully by attempting to assume the identity of a different alien race. Are we the only ones seeing the red flag alert? Also, movies like 1996's Dangerous Minds, the 2000 film Finding Forrester, The Blind Side, which came out in 2009, and The Help, which followed the previous movie's footsteps only 2 years later, all use the white savior trope. Well, they didn't just use it, they milked it till the last drop. That's a wrap for this video. What lessons do you hope are properly shown in the Avatar sequel? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.